I'm going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Community Information Meeting for the Los Cienega Boulevard Green Infrastructure Corridor Project. Thank you for being here this evening.
Buenas noches a todos y bienvenidos a la reunión de información comunitaria para el proyecto Corredor de Infraestructura Verde de la Ciénega. Gracias por estar con nosotros.
My name is Joyce Amaro, and I am with LA Sanitation and Environment's Watershed Protection Program. I will be your host for this evening. Sorry, Lenny, go ahead.
Joyce Amaro será su anfitriona del Departamento de Saneamiento y Ambiente. Yo, Cienega Blvd, seré su traductora esta noche.
Before we begin our presentation, we need to get everyone who needs to listen to the event in Spanish into the appropriate channel. Lenny?
Antes de comenzar esta noche, necesitamos que las personas que quieran escuchar la reunión en español, por favor, se trasladen al canal en español. Abajo en su pantalla verá un botón que dice interpretación. Por favor, oprima ese botón y cámbiase al canal de español y tenga cuidado de apagar el audio original para que me pueda escuchar a mí y no a la gente que está hablando inglés en el otro lado. Yo estaré ahí para traducirle.
Thank you, Lenny. We'll give everyone a minute or two to select their language. Are we good to go, Lenny? Thumbs up? Okay. I'll begin this evening by introducing everyone on our panel. The Honorable Los Angeles City Council member Mike Bonin is here from the 11th District. Tracy Minimidi, Chief Operating Officer, and Sharam Karagani, Acting Assistant Director, are here with LA Sanitation and Environment. Tristan Marler from Council Member Mike Bonin's office is also here representing the 11th District. And lastly, Lorena Matos, landscape architect with LA Sanitation and Environment, will be presenting this evening. Next slide, please. So I have a few brief housekeeping items to address. Since we are translating tonight's meeting into Spanish, you may notice a brief pause between slides while our presenter waits for the translator to finish on the Spanish channel. We are planning on placing this presentation on LA Sanitation's YouTube channel for future reference. We are planning on emailing a copy of the presentation to participants who RSVP'd to tonight's meeting. And we will have a question and answer segment at the end of the presentation. So please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to ask questions in English or Spanish. And we will be providing those answers either verbally by panelists or they will be written in the Q&A feature. Next slide, please. So it's my pleasure to introduce Tracy Minimidi, Chief Operating Officer for LA Sanitation and Environment. Tracy.
Thank you, Joyce. Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to the Los Cienega Green Infrastructure Corridor Project meeting. My name again is Tracy Minimidi. I'm the Chief Operating Officer representing LA Sanitation and Environment Department. And it's my pleasure to be with you this evening. We are here to introduce the Los Cienega project to you folks, the community, and to receive your input. This is a project that will be funded by the Safe Clean Water program. It's also known as Measure W. So some of you may be aware that LA County residents voted overwhelmingly passing Measure W back in November of 2018, and we have been off and running ever since. It's a very exciting program. The Safe Clean Water program generates approximately $300 million per year across the entire county. And this funding will last for the next 30 years. For the city of LA, our portion is approximately $100 million on a yearly basis. So basically, just to give you an idea of what Measure W is all about and how it's structured, 10% of the funding that comes in is used for administrative purposes. So the county needs to oversee the program, needs to disperse funds, and make sure that all the projects are moving forward. That's what the administrative component is. There is also a local return. So 40% of all the money that comes in to the county is allocated for all of the municipalities and the cities within LA County. That money is used by each city at their discretion, again, towards Measure W goals. And the last 50%, that large component, is reserved for the regional program. It's a grant-like program where project proponents can submit their projects to be considered by the various watershed steering committees. And competitive program, and each of those committees will select the projects that they wish to fund. And that's how each of these begins their process. Part of the major goals of Measure W, Safe Clean Water, 3 components. First of all, water quality. All of that urban runoff, all of the stormwater that comes through when it rains is something that we are focusing on in terms of improving that water quality. Secondly, we want to look at water supply augmentation. So there's been a lot of talk about how, especially when it rains, all of that rainwater is something that washes down our various flood control channels, and we are losing it to the ocean. So another goal of Measure W is to capture that water and to use it as a water supply. And finally, and most importantly, is that of community enhancement. So while at the same time we are trying to improve water quality and increase our water supplies, we also want to provide a benefit to the community. With that, we keep in mind aspects of environmental justice and also disadvantaged community status. All that wrapped up together involves our Measure W Safe Clean Water program. So tonight we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for this particular project as a starting point, again, to gather your input as we move forward into conceptual development and design and construction. This presentation will be done by our project engineer, Lorena Matos. She is going to be presenting the basic concepts, and along the way, we'll be getting your ideas and your thoughts on what we've got to this point. I want to thank you as a community for taking your time out to participate in this meeting this evening, and would also like to thank Council District 11 environmental deputies who have provided project coordination from the very onset of this concept, and that is Hannah Levian and Jeff Thompson. Also, thank you, Tristan, for being here with us today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Council Member Mike Bonin, who has been an environmental leader and supporter of quality of life issues for the City of LA residents for the past many, many decades. Thank you so much for joining us, Council Member Bonin. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. The many, many decades makes me feel really old, though. Let's just say for a period of time. Thank you for the intro, and thank you everybody for being here tonight. Hello, Ladera. It has been too long since I have been able to spend some time with you in person. I'm glad we are coming out of this pandemic, and I hope I get to see you at some block parties this summer, if not sooner. Wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight. I think this is a great project with a lot of benefits in a lot of different ways. First, let me thank the Ladera Heights Civic Association for the outreach and the work it has done. In particular, I want to give a shout out to Connie and to Dorothy and Rick and to really so many others just doing great work, particularly with the unique challenges of having so many different government jurisdictions all overlapping and going like this a lot. I know it's sort of tough to coordinate, and I'm glad my staff has been able to help put this together. My thanks, of course, to Los Angeles LA San, to our Bureau of Sanitation, and to the folks working on this project for the great work. You know, as they said, this is at its core, because of its funding, Measure W, an environmental project, which always gets me excited. It's about clean and safe and sustainable water, and we can't be doing enough in that regard. We need to keep on doing more. And I always get excited when there's a Measure W project in my district, just because on the natural, it helps improve water and it helps improve the environment. But this one I'm particularly excited about because I know that many people in the community have long felt that because of the confused mishmash and hodgepodge and patchwork of government jurisdictions, that the neighborhood hasn't gotten the love and the attention that it deserves. And one of the things that has really been a major annoyance for people for years has been the appearance of the median. And one of the things that's great about this project as part of the La Cienega Boulevard Green Infrastructure Corridor project is we get to do work to beautify and re-landscape that median. And that makes me particularly excited because I know that it's a project that this community cares about. So I am eager for you to be able to hear more details about the project tonight, ask questions, give your feedback, and I want to make sure that my office can continue working with you and with sanitation to make sure that this is a project that not only cleans our water, but that makes you happy and improves the neighborhood and gives us all a great sense of pride and ownership in the neighborhood. So thank you very much for having me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Councilmember Bonin. And thank you, Tracy. Before we begin the project presentation, I just want to remind everyone that if you have a question, you can click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and type in your question into the pop-up box, and we will address those questions at the end of the presentation. So now I would like to go ahead and introduce Lorena Matos, landscape architect with LA Sanitation and Environment, who will present information on our project this evening.
Thank you, Joyce. Good evening, everyone. This is a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Lorena Matos, and I'm the project engineer for the La Cienega Green Infrastructure Corridor. For the purpose of this meeting, I'll be referring to as the project. This evening, we'll be reviewing the project background, project overview, construction cost, and schedule. We are meeting here tonight to share with you the current status of the project. We also would like to hear from you what makes this project important to the community. If you have any questions, please type your questions in the Q&A features on Zoom, and we'll be answering them at the end of the presentation. Let's talk about why this project is important. Portions of the Southern California rely on extracting groundwater for use. Recharging aquifers is an important way to reduce dependence on imported water. The project provides the opportunity for cooperation between bordering unincorporated LA County land and the city of Inglewood. Why is the Safe Clean Water Program, also known as Measure W? It was approved by LA County voters on November 6 of 2018. This multi-benefit measure provides cities in the LA County with funds to capture, treat, and recycle stormwater. The goal of the measure was to provide municipalities with money, municipalities within the LA County with the necessary funds to implement projects that could capture stormwater. The county program provides local, dedicated funding to increase water supply, improve water quality, and provide community enhancements. Municipalities have been in great need of help to push stormwater capture projects forward. This project will assist with the reduced flooding, mitigate dry weather flows, provide water quality benefits, green of project areas, and reduce of accumulation of trash on the project. The site is located along La Cienega Boulevard. It's about half a mile long and is located between West 64th Street and Short Street. The project area includes residential, schools, restaurants, and retail shops. The La Cienega Boulevard is a heavily utilized road with 6 traffic lanes in the project area. And the 405 freeway is located about 3/4 southwest of the project site. The map on the left portrays the watershed areas near the project site that will be captured by the system. The project capture area is about an estimated area of 27.5 acres, consisting primarily of residential land used to the east of the La Cienega Boulevard, a few commercial zones parcels along Sentinela Avenue, and La Tigela Elementary School. The area borders both the city of Inglewood and incorporated Los Angeles County. The image on the right shows a swell and a double dry well in the way that would look without the plants. The large cylinders in the dry well are located underground and cannot be seen from the surface, while the parkway swell will be on the surface covered with plant material. Installation of dry wells, swales, permeable pavers, and planters allow for stormwater infiltration and reduction of runoff during storms. Installation of dry wells could also provide groundwater recharge. The swales and median planters provide community benefits to the street beautification, adding more foliage, greenery to the largely asphalt and concrete area on La Cienega Boulevard. The community will be receiving benefits from the implementation of a green infrastructure corridor. The area will be greener and have more beautiful outdoor spaces, which will contribute to the overall improvement of the area. The features will also help reduce flooding in the area. The project will provide the community an opportunity to be involved in the maintenance of the green corridor. Furthermore, the project will become part of the local network of features funded by Measure W, which seek to modernize the water system infrastructure using a combination of nature, science, and new technology, help protect health, ensure safer, greener, healthier, and more livable spaces for all, and prepare a region for the efforts of changing climate, including recurring cycles of drought, wildfire, and flooding. The project would allow for stormwater capture, infiltration, along with the street purification. The project is currently in the planning phase. The design phase should start within the next 2 to 6 months, and it should take about 12 months from start to finish. all the images that you have seen in here are just conceptual representations of the design. We'll be meeting with the community during the design phase to gather your input on the design. After the design phase, we will go to a bid and award should start. And that process will take about 6 months. Construction is expected to take about 12 months to complete. Once construction is done, the team will monitor the project and make minor adjustments based on their observations. The projects included under the 21-22 budget request to the Safe Clean Water program to cover the design phase. In the 22-22 budget cycle, construction costs should be included on the budget request. The estimated construction cost for this project is about $1,435,000. I would like to thank the community for participating in this project planning meeting and send a big shout out to Ladera Heights Civic Association for their ongoing community engagement and their ability to get this project off the ground.
Thank you, Lorena. Now we will open it up to questions and answers from our attendees. And I see that we have a number of questions that have already come up. Remember, if you do have a question, you can type your question into the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. And we will either have one of our panelists answer the question live, or we'll write an answer in the Q&A feature. So we have a few questions that have come up. One of the questions that came up was, are the swales, and I'm guessing that Lorena, this would probably be for you, are the swales permeable, and will the trees be able to root into the ground, or are they in planter boxes which will limit their size?
The decision will be done throughout the design. There is room for input from the community. As of today, and the design that we have, there will be a defined area, and it's going to be part of the overall system of the swale and the dry wells.
Thank you. We have another question. Connie says, thank you for this detailed overview. We're excited for the project. Connie's question is, will the median on La Cienega north of the 64th Street Bridge be included in the median improvement with pavers?
The project is going to go from west to 64 all the way to Southern Street. And everything is going to be about a half-a-mile long project. We will be addressing the median across the high school and also towards the cross of the restaurant.
Okay, thank you, Lorena. Isabel asks, what if there are lessons learned and technology that is being developed in this project that can be integrated into all future projects in the city of Los Angeles?
Right now, we are on the conceptual phase, on the planning phase. We haven't entered the design phase yet. And yes, everything that we have learned from previous project and from this project will be utilized in future projects.
Stuart asks, what is the plan for the maintenance of the green areas?
Right now, we have LA Sanitation needs to request funding from Measure W to provide the maintenance after the project is concluded. There is also plans from the community to do some of their maintenance for this project.
Okay, thank you. And similarly, Brian asks how the accumulation of trash and debris will be mitigated with this project?
During the design, that's going to be addressed, and we're going to try to use a plant material to catch, to doesn't allow the integration of trash, and also during the maintenance, we'll take care of that portion.
I'm going to give our Spanish translator a minute to catch up here. Thank you so much for all your questions, everyone. We have a few more questions to answer. Mary asks, La Cienega is a very busy street. How will construction impact the flow of traffic? And will traffic be diverted to residential areas?
During the construction phase, we will be doing a traffic plan. Will give us more information on how the construction will impact the daily drive. And also we will be coordinating with the council district and passing all the information to them so they can share with their constituents.
I think you may have already answered this, Lorena. I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. Rick says there is a median north of 64th Street, and he's asking, will it be included in the project?
Let me go back a few slides. I can show the project area. This is the project area for the, going to be the project location. This is the bridge in 64, and everything south of the 64 all the way to Shorten Street will be the area of the project.
Okay. I believe you may have already addressed this as well, but I'll ask it again. Connie says we have concerns about the recurring landscape maintenance. She asks, is regular maintenance included in the measure? And if so, for how long?
Joyce, can I provide an answer also to add what
Sure.
Lorena mentioned? This is Sharon Caragani from Sanitation. As a part of any project, construction and design comes with operation and maintenance. So we would be asking about a year before completion of the project. We would ask Measure W also for operation and maintenance money. So based on the plant species that we have selected, we would have an operating standard for the taking care of the greenery that we have implemented as part of this project. So the funding would be provided, and LA Sanitation would operate and maintain the median that we have and the parkways that we have greened with your input.
And Sharam, do we have a sense of how long that the operation and maintenance would go for? How many years?
Correct. So it's going to be in perpetuity right now because these plants, they need, take care almost on yearly basis. So it would be, once we ask for money, the money would be for the next 30 years to make sure the plants are established. So it's going to be for a long time to sustain them.
Okay, thank you, Sharam. We have a few more questions. Connie asks, will we lose the number of traffic lanes on La Cienega due to this project? So I'm guessing Connie wants to know if any traffic lanes will be lost on La Cienega.
At this moment, there is no plans to reduce the traffic lanes for this project.
How about during construction, Lorena? How would the traffic flow be impacted?
The design team will be preparing a transportation diagram that will help us with any close of lanes or any diversion of traffic. And we will be working with the council district to provide them all the information ahead of time, so that information can be passed on to all the constituents.
Okay, thank you. Mary asks about flooding. La Cienega frequently floods during heavy rainfall. Will this project take care of the flooding problem?
The drainage area for this project is about 27.5 acres. And we are scheduled to take up to 600 gallons of stormwater. So yes, the project, this project will address the flooding issues that's happening in the area.
Thank you, Lorena. David asks if there can be some attention given to the gutters at the eastern side of La Cienega at Fairview.
Any
Hold on,
concerns?
Lorena. Hold on,
Sorry,
Lorena. I just wanted to give Lenny a chance to translate. It is a pretty large dip that can be dangerous when cars have to slow down to cross it. This is from David.
Any concerns that the community might have, we can address them during the design phase, and we'll be meeting with the community as needed to pass, to get their input and also to show the current design for the project.
And also, Joyce will obviously not, since they have brought it to our attention, we will investigate and see if there is any short-term remedy that we could provide.
Thank you. Stewart asks if the 64th Street Bridge rehab will be a part of the project.
Not at this moment. The bridge is not part of this project. This is a stormwater project from Measure W.
Okay, thank you. Henry asks if the area at the west slope of the La Tijera included.
I would have to defer that question because I'm not visualizing the exact location that he's asking, but the area that's we're going to be working on, it's going to be from 64th Street all the way to Shorten Street on La Cienega Boulevard. That will be our scope of work for this project.
Okay, thank you. I'm just looking at further questions here. Rick has a question specifically for Councilman Bonen's staff and wants to, his question is, what does the City of Los Angeles plan to do to clean and maintain the median north of the 64th Street Bridge?
Hey there. What will we be doing to maintain north of the 64th Street Bridge? Well, what we'll be doing is during the course of this project, we'll be sorting that out. We'll be talking with Sanitation. We will be talking with the Civic Association. We'll be talking with our various partners, and we will see, it depends on what's going to happen in this year's budget, in the next couple of years' budgets. Right now, we're in much better shape than we seemed to be a year ago. A year ago, I would have said we were looking pretty rough. Now we may have resources to start budgeting some stuff for median maintenance in the next couple cycles. If so, that's what we'll do. If not, we will look at some discretionary funds from my office and other sources.
Thank you, Councilmember Bonnen. We have a question from John asking, what is going on the road from Centinela Avenue and Short Street? He makes the comment that the turning lanes are much needed. I'm not sure if there's, yeah, go ahead, Lorena, sorry.
Yes, this project is for the stormwater project to deal with runoff. And that's the question should be addressed to transportation for the roads.
So Joyce, we could communicate that concern also to our sister agency, Department of Transportation, through the networking that we know people over there. So we could ask them to look into it.
Thank you. Brian asks, as this is also a LA County funded measure, shouldn't the project also include some of the median north of the 64th Street Bridge?
I think, Joyce, the council member mentioned that as this is conceptual level discussion we are having, as we have more meetings on planning part of the project, if we have to include the northern part, we will do that as well. So this input is good. That's what we are having this meeting, to receive that kind of input. So that's a possibility to add the north side as well as we go along the planning phase of the project.
Thank you, Shahram. Nancy asks the question, will weeds be able to grow between the median pavers?
We can have procedures to not allow the weeds to grow, and that's going to be addressed during design. If that's the material that the constituents would like to use, we can discuss that during the design phase.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy asks the question, will this project require utilizing private property on the west side of La Cienega between 64th and Fairview?
All these projects should be done on right of way on public property.
So no private property will be impacted or used with this project, correct?
Yes, at the conceptual phase, we have no impacts.
Okay, Dorothy has a comment saying that both the median and the slide shows that the project is north and extends beyond the bridge. And so she said that the answer was a bit confusing and at odds with the slide. So we may, as we get into the design portion of this project, we'll need to provide some more clarification on that. Correct, Lorena?
Yes, we'll be meeting with the constituents again during the design phase to get more of their input.
Okay, thank you. Rick asks, how will the community represented by LHCA participate in the design phase? I apologize that I don't know what that acronym stands for. Ladera Heights?
Ladera Heights Civic Association. We'll be coordinating with the council district and passing all the information and dates, and schedule another meeting just like this to keep the community informed of everything that we are doing during the design phase.
Thank you, Lorena. Mary asks if today's questions and answers will be retained and addressed in future planning by the project team. And I believe, yes, we will be taking note of these questions and answers and potentially putting together a frequently asked questions piece for this project. Dennis asks, how will the city of Los Angeles bring the plans and design to the residents for review? And will we put out door hangers or pamphlets for Los Angeles residents?
All the design that we have showed you as of today. It's very conceptual. Just to give you an idea of the project, we will be reaching out to the council district again and putting together another meeting like this when we have the design team in place. Once the design team is placed, we will start with the design and reach out to the community to get their input and comments on the design.
Thank you, Lorena. Let me just read this last question to see if it's. John asks, right now it looks like you are adding to the medians that already exist on La Cienega. On La Cienega from Centinela to Short Street, there is not an existing median in the road. It is all traffic lanes. I'm unclear why you say your project is going to Short Street. And then he asks, how will La Cienega Boulevard be altered with what we have planned?
There are no, as at this moment, there are no plans to alter the traffic of La Cienega Boulevard. During the design, we will redo the plans. These plans that we have seen today, it's very conceptual, and they will be redone before we meet with the community and get their input on what they want to see, what and where on this project.
We have Dorothy asking if we can give her the date for the meeting. I think, Dorothy, you're asking for future meetings. And Lorena, we are not at that point yet where we have dates for future meetings. But rest assured, we will definitely let the community know when we are planning on doing future informational meetings. And then our last comment is from Dennis. He has the comment of LA residents need more input. And I think the whole team is in agreement with Dennis that we welcome your feedback and your input on this project. And as we get into the design phase of this project, we will certainly be asking for and requesting your feedback and your input. That is the end of our questions, unless anyone else has any additional questions, or if any of our panelists would like to have make any closing comments.
So Joyce, as the community mentioned, that we will be having series of meetings, both during the final planning phase and also during the pre-design and design. So all those dates would be announced way in advance, so everyone interested can attend as well.
Right, and as we mentioned, we are recording the questions so that we can look at them more carefully and be better prepared to specifically address them at our future meetings. So rest assured, we are absorbing the questions, and we will be following up.
Thank you, Sharam and Tracy. 3 final comments. Rick says thank you to Council Member Bonin and the team from LA Sanitation for guidance on this project. Nancy says excellent start, and Mary says thank you. So with that, I just want to close our meeting this evening, reminding everyone that if there are any additional questions or comments that you have regarding this project, that you can submit your questions to san.safecleanwater@lacity.org. That is our email. And we request that you please place La Cienega Boulevard project in the subject line so that we are able to see that the question or comment is about this project. Unless anyone has any additional comments or questions, on behalf of LA Sanitation and Environment, thank you so much for being here this evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.